If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Lawful Stupid just jumped over. First of all, it's free, and we love that. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, wherever you're at, all on the go. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. There are a lot of other vendors out there, a lot of platforms that they will make sure your podcast gets to. So it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with zero minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
The intro's different this time because we're not doing it last time on Lawful Stupid because this whole episode is a last time on Lawful Stupid.
Oh, God.
So this is all Devin's creation, and I think it's probably one of the better ideas that he's had just ever, period. So
Thanks.
I'm gonna let you ride. Like, this is your show, man. You tell
Everyone,
them
welcome
what's
to
gonna happen. Yeah.
welcome to the Atlas Show. What we're doing is we've made it up to 20 episodes, which is I was listening when I was going back to the episodes. You had mentioned Christmas is coming up soon, and we're going to be out of town. So that's kind of cool just to know that we were starting this last year, and it's already May, and we're still kicking these episodes out. So we've done something with our lives so far.
We've made it further than any of us thought we were going to.
Yeah.
It's true. It's very true.
So basically, what we're going to do is hopefully in kind of rapid fire style. I want to try to keep it around 25 minutes. We'll see what this ends up looking like. Just kind of hit the highlights of all the episodes. So anyone who's new listening to our show can start here. And if you decide that you love it, then you can go back and you have a backlog of 20 episodes to go check out.
You should have turned it into like a Pokemon rap.
I did actually.
Oh, okay, great.
But
Awesome.
that's
Let's do
for
this.
our Patreon members. That's exclusive material that I now have to go prepare.
You actually have to do it now.
Now so without further ado, let's go ahead and kick off into this. And I have notes, and you guys see everyone have those notes pulled up, I hope?
I
Nope.
Yeah,
Great,
absolutely.
Doing it
even
off
better.
the cuff.
Even better. I think that's actually better if you guys don't, and I just make up all the things. No, so we will start off. So episode 1 we called The Red Roof Inn, and that was actually a funny thing that Dwayne didn't realize he had done, is copied the name of the inns that would be denoted by red roofs until it was too late and it was canon. But where we start at is my character, Atlas. It opens up with me working at the Golden Hammer. That's where you sort of are introduced to my character, and his father Henry comes and knocks on the door. There's an issue, or there's a problem where Atlas's adoptive mother, has been taken by bandits. And so then we flop over to the Red Roof Inn, where our other two compatriots show up, and you tell about where you guys came in at.
Oh, yeah, we came in on the ship.
Yeah, on a ship together, but not together.
Yeah, we just were on the same ship. We weren't necessarily together, not like that.
Yeah, not in like the biblical sense.
Whatever you want. So what happens next is they go to the Red Roof Inn, and then I also go there. Atlas goes there looking for help. We need some people to assist us in finding Teresa, Atlas's mother. And so I go there, and just so happens I meet the boys, but the boys have some of their own agendas as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Christoph, he was there to try and ingratiate himself with the local nobility. He's a cast out noble, so he's trying to find his place in the world. So he runs into, Lady Trestle, who's the lady of the town, and just does a great job trying to secure a position in her court. Does a real good job. He does a very bad job, actually.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing that affected the course of our lives forever.
Yeah, it definitely opened up an optional quest line that was not intentional in the beginning of the podcast.
I don't even know why we're talking about it because it was so inconsequential and insignificant.
That's true. It doesn't shape the course of the story at all. That's fair.
And Rowan, I guess, actually, Rowan's the biggest mystery. We're still kind of trying to figure out ourselves as to where he's coming from. So we won't delve too much into his unless he's got something he wants to
Nope, I definitely have a storied background that is not made up on the spot whatsoever.
NaNoWriMo 2018, folks. Wait for it. It'll be here.
I was about to say, we're still figuring out what Rowan's doing, and so is Alex.
He knows what he's doing. I know what I'm about.
What ends up happening is I convince the boys via money. Actually, Rowan just wants to help. He's just there. And Kristoff says,
Wink.
how much gold you got? So we promise him some gold. We have a run-in with a guy named Craig and some of his lackeys. But we end up going to where Teresa was last seen. We find some tracks that lead away from the scene of an overturned cart. Eventually, we find a cave entrance that's hidden by a lot of overgrown brush, and then we begin to head down into the tunnels. We presume the bandits are in wait, or at least have taken Teresa. At that point, I do not stealthily make my way through the cave, and so the three hooded figures that we end up seeing from a distance turn and begin to run at us, and that is the end of episode 1. So then we get led into episode 2. A lot of our episodes, and I think you guys have to agree, when we fight, they're most of the episode is the fight, which is kind of cool. We've only gotten in probably 4 fights, I think, but we end up beating these dorks. Shane, I believe that your character is trying to slink around the outside every day. He's like, I'm gonna go stealth and I'm just gonna go around these guys.
Yeah, well, the thing you have to realize about Kristoff is that he's not what you would call a big dumb idiot.
That's my character.
He does approach things with some tactics, and usually that tactic consists of not getting hit in the face.
Which is funny because in this scenario, it would have worked out great except for your roll. If I remember correctly, you had the bad roll for the stealth roll that time.
I don't believe so. I believe it was Rowan that botched that one. If memory serves, and it usually does.
Maybe?
I don't know. Devin?
I don't remember.
Do you remember listening to episode 2? I feel like Shane had a bad stealth roll there. And
it was me. I think he was...
No, you and
was
Henry
bad,
were arguing.
but mine was worse, is the only thing that made it happen. He was like, oh gosh, it was I think it was an 8 or something, but mine was crit fail. I think
exactly what happened was I tripped and bumped into tripped and bumped into Alice, and I was like, what are you doing?
That's right. It was a combination of things. I remember you tripping and bumping into somebody specifically.
Man, this is just the recap. It's not actually factually true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anything could have happened. So we make our way through the tunnel system and eventually find Teresa, and she's being held at sword point by a man with a large blade. And then me as Atlas, having an investment in my mother, immediately just throw a spear to attack. We didn't take.
I think we're burying some good story here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
This.
Oh
this
no!
is not...
He also talk about what he wants to. Yeah.
A normal man, all these. I don't know. This was not a normal man, right? So this was not a guy who was just a normal human. He had they had weird blood, and they had weird markings, and they were wearing robes. They're very much cultists, and he was here to get a legendary sword forged by Henry. Henry Alice's adoptive father. That was kind of his goal here, and so that's kind of what led to the confrontation. That was immediately reach a sparking powder keg moment when Alice threw a spear at his face.
But if you go to our website, you can see those. What do you call it? Missed moments, or what did you write? Did you write
misconnections.
Yeah, misconnections. Go check out that guy. He has a misconnection. Yeah. I think isn't that up? Is that up, or have we put that up yet?
Oh, it's
up there. Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah. It's hilarious. So yeah, he's dead. That guy's dead.
You got better.
Also, this is not known to Atlas, but Kristoff takes all of Henry's money.
Oh, it's not at the time.
Yeah, it's still not known. He still doesn't know you.
No, my goodness! Yes, I absolutely came clean during our great denouement of getting together and moving to Uri. We wiped the slate clean, and we all confessed our sins.
Then after we get rid of that guy, Rowan does a good thing and is able to solve the door puzzle that is there, which
the magic box door puzzle.
I mean, it was good. It was good stuff, and he had drank a whole bottle of wine by this point, in real life.
Yeah, that was Alex drinking, not Rowan.
This leads into the artifact room, and before us we see laid out on these pedestals these 3 floating artifacts. One is a maul, one is a lute, and one is what it is a book. We perceive, well, in our minds, I thought spell book. Just it matched too well. It was funny when you guys said, "This seems strangely appropriate." That was what Shane said. It was really funny. And so, if you guys want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, so we had, of course, the Lute of Wynn, the Hammer of Derridin, and the Book of Bacab. I don't actually know if it was the Book of Bacab. The book was never named, but I'm going to assume it's the D&D lore god of magic Bacab.
I mean, those are all really great guesses, but if you want to actually know what the book is called, it was
the Dungeon
the
Master's
Cortex
Guide.
of the Creators.
Vortex of the Creators is what it was, or the Book of Bacab as it's known colloquially.
From the Arcane Wars.
From the Arcane Wars,
yeah. Biggest running fucking gag of this show is a plot point.
But the Hammer of Derridin is so powerful, even the God Spirit. The Lute of Wynn, God's voice can be heard in its chords. And the Cortex of the Creator contains the knowledge of the divine.
So all very cool threads of stories that we could have possibly taken. Mm-hmm. But we decide, the first time we decided to touch one, there's a giant stone golem, a 9-foot golem in this room. It activates upon us touching one of those artifacts. And so that leads us, that's where we end episode 2, is we roll initiative into episode 3 and spend a majority of that episode fighting this golem. We beat it. We take everything we do afterwards. Just assume we get the loot, no matter what happens. Yep. I think this is where you got create and destroy water. In this I can't remember if that's this episode.
Yeah. No, it's in that little journey that he loots it. Yep.
And he said,
"That's gonna come in handy one day."
That's really just like the main plot point. This whole story is around this scroll that's create and destroy water, and he's going to use it early, and I'm going to be like, no, fuck, you just ruined the whole podcast.
Well, the other thing that I have notes of that nobody else seems to remember is that Alex looted a particular potion during this event, and I happen to know a little bit about potion lore, as it were. I happen to know it's a love potion. Scott Shane, know that. Christoph does not know that. But Alex does have a love potion.
See, I didn't know that.
You super do, yeah.
I'm now you guys have to go dig and find and let us know where that's at. I'm interested in it.
It's in his bag, sure.
It's in my bag.
Rattling around.
Last I checked, it was his inventory.
With the scroll, like, it's just there.
So we beat this golem. Rowan, we decided to take the loot, and there's a vision.
Well,
Rowan, that you
to be fair, we didn't decide that at first. There was like 40 minutes of like, all right, take this one, and then try that one. Okay, now try to pull it all together.
All at the same time.
And you can catch all that in episode 3.
Yeah, and it was not happening. And Dwayne just let us fucking flop there before he's like, guys, you can only take one.
Hey, Rowan, tell us about that first vision you have, if you remember offhand what that one's about.
The one where you get fucking pink misted.
That's the one.
Everyone remembers the OG vision.
I don't remember that at all.
That's so. He put it so eloquently. So there's a vision of Atlas dying horrendously in battle.
Red blood, dust. I believe was the direct quote.
So then I remember that we need to take. We need to go back to Findle. I remember Findle in town. Know that he's a guy who can tell us about artifacts. He's a crazy old man, but if anyone has answers, he's the one to help. So we finish by rolling out of the cave, and so choose a mystical item, any mystical item. That's episode 3. Episode 4, Craigslist. It's personally one of my favorites to listen to. We get outside the cave, and Craig and his boys, and this was an add-on by Dwayne, so we didn't know this about the episode until we listened to it, that Craig and them had a plan to wait for us to come out of the cave with whatever was inside there. They were going to jump us. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about that for a second, like what went down.
Yeah, as a part of our new initiative, which is called Nice Boys 2.0, we're trying to not murder everyone. So Christoph was like, all right, let's give this guy a chance. Hey, you guys are adventurers. You guys are get hired to save people from bandits, not be bandits. But Craig was like, all right, hire me to not murder you. So we murdered him.
Yeah. He didn't really leave us a choice. So it was more self-defense than murder.
Yeah, that's true. Murder is the crime. Taking a life is the action.
And the debate, and you heard that a few times. So we fight, kill everyone.
Too, which was
yeah,
nice.
Renoir lived.
Yeah, and we took him into town and tied him up in a bow and gave him to the master as a gift. The Justicar, rather.
We did.
Yeah, which had no ulterior motives whatsoever.
And that's where we met the light of our lives. Our guiding star. Taringa!
I wonder if he even listens still. I hope that he still listens.
If he doesn't, I'm sad.
I mean, basically the whole podcast is about him.
It's actually a Taringa show.
Yeah.
He's really the real hero.
I mean, if someone made a character with my name and I was like a star character in most episodes, I'd listen just to hear that. So you're welcome, Taringa. Now you're a star in this episode as well. No more satisfaction.
I wanted him in today, live, flown in from Arizona, where he lives. I don't know where he lives. But that wasn't applicable, so.
Yeah.
So after we take Renoir back to Oxbane, Kristoff begins to get into the money exchange, goes to the Golden Buckle, meets some shady characters.
I go down the rabbit hole for some political intrigue. This is where the threads start to unravel.
And so he meets with a man. He's trying to find Eckenbar. He's heard about Eckenbar, so he goes to the Golden Buckle to try to find a man named Eckenbar. I don't know if it's in this episode that you realize, like you find out he is Eckenbar. It doesn't tell you who he is.
Definitely this one, yeah.
But it ends with those two in a booth discussing some political things. And to me, it's very interesting that like we split off at this point for a little bit. Dwayne's like, I didn't want you guys to do this, but hey, it's your story, so I'm gonna run with it. Yeah. So then that takes us into episode 5. So I try not to delve into these. Some of these we run around a lot. So basically, what happens in this one is I seek out you boys at the Red Roof Inn. I stay at my own place for the night because me as Atlas wanted to stay in the hotel even though I live in the town.
Yeah.
Just to be close to his boyfriends?
Just to be with your friends.
Yeah,
boyfriends.
That was his whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, I just want adventure, and you guys are the closest thing I've had since Battleborn. So I meet up with the boys. Rowan's out and about. And tell them about your trip to the town to play your lute.
It was very lucrative, except for when I tried to steal from a priest, and she caught me. And then I convinced her that she was really robbing us.
It was one of the best moments, one of his best moments in the podcast so far. I did not expect him to be like, no, I was trying to
give a donation.
Yeah,
I didn't want people to think that I was super charitable.
Yeah.
So good. So then what happens is Rowan and Atlas go talk to Findle about this loot that they found. Findle, in return for some information, wants us to get the golden iris from the Tinkerer in Zenorf.
The golden eye through which you can see the night sky.
She said.
Yes.
She said.
I mean, it is.
It's beautiful. I'm not mad at you.
Just talking about it. It's a cool magic item.
Sorry.
That Dwayne made.
Dwayne just shakes his head.
Findle also sticks his hands in everyone's mouth.
Everyone's
but
mouth. He rubs my tusks and rubs on Kristoff's horns.
He learned to regret putting his hand in my.
So he lets us. He tells us he'll let us know about the loot once we secure this iris. As we are leaving to head north, Kristoff meets with us. But he also runs into Justicar Svan. If you want to talk about him for a second, he's a pretty important character right now.
Yeah, no, he's a big deal. He actually was in the kingdom that Kristoff was from, Silence. He was there during a Kobold campaign with his Heralds of the Storm. And basically, I'm going through, I'm meeting him, I'm starting to get a better feel for what's going on with Lady Trestle and this Ambassador Shear. But it really points me back in the direction of the boys and the quest for the Golden Iris. So we go and we meet with Findle again. A little deja vu Groundhog Day style recap just to get Kristoff back on board, and we get some additional details. We do some coloring, but it all leads us to the fact that we have to go and secure the Golden Iris.
Yeah. So episode 6 with Findle the Mad has us. That's where actually we run back into him, and then we go back. Yeah. Talk. No, it's fine. Yeah. But so it was just. I thought it's like, man, we went to see him 2 times, but we had recorded all that at once, is why it felt like that.
Well,
so we run into him
split
again.
up as a party as well.
Yeah.
So he tells us that We head north. There's an old man who approaches us during the night. Basically, out of the kindness of my heart, I give him food and things, and he ends up robbing me. Hot biscuits, and he steals a lot of gold from me. So that's basically episode 6, traveling north. There's some other things that go on, but one of the funniest parts is the talking door at the Tinkerer's house.
So good.
Please go listen. You know what? Go listen to episode 6.
No, episode 7's where it gets fucking lit.
And 8. Mm-hmm. Yes, 7 and 8.
Yep.
It was 8. It was 8 at the very end. We'll get there.
Yeah. So that's what happens in episode 6. Episode 7, Tinker Hell is about us getting into this Tinkerer's house. I don't know if anyone wants to break that one down.
We went in. We found some rooms with weird furniture in it. It is desperately in need of cleaning. There were also robots in there. There was like a chest and some puzzles, and we electrocuted ourselves a bunch. But mostly it was all just to get inside, upstairs, and come face to face with the Tinkerer.
He says, "Who do you think you are?" And then roll initiative, but that takes us into episode 8, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. We fight the giant robot, we beat the giant robot, and we remove the gnomon inside. Mm-hmm. We question him about we question him about his actions. I feel like we're talking to our child. Why did you do that?
Hey, why'd you try to do a murder?
Yeah, which, to be fair, we broke into his house and we're like, why are you trying to kill us?
To be fair, it's not his house. It was Chinsky's house.
That was Atlas.
We didn't know that at the point.
Fair.
Dwayne laughs harder in this episode at the end than I think. There's one other episode where he laughs harder, but
this is also my favorite part of the whole podcast is the end of episode 8. Don't worry, when we're deciding what to do with this gnome, and we just go buck wild. I mean, it is so fun. And the door's in there. We're gonna kill the door because he's a witness, and it's a magical talking door. And we've got this gnome, and he's like, "Why are you trying to kill me?" And we're like throwing biscuits at him. It is just so fucking funny. Please go listen to it.
And so what's funny is Shane says, "Hey, we'll let you go under one condition: you don't come back and be the final boss of this podcast."
Yeah.
We ended up deciding. I was like, he's gonna be the big bad. And we let him live. He's gonna be the big bad of the whole fucking thing. But we actually do end up taking him with us. Yeah, we take him with us to. We were gonna turn him into the Justicar, but it turns out that we were the criminals, and we can just not bring people to the Justicar all the time. That's present.
Yeah.
And we decided to take him to Findle because Findle is the wisest, most sane among us. And he's the one who stole the golden iris from Findle, so we figured that's the best justice, so we take him with us.
But no, we let him go. Remember?
Yeah,
no, we did not.
We did. Confirmed.
We did let him go.
We take him.
You guys took him back to the city. Yeah, confirmed.
We take him with us
later in
we're
the episode.
Camping.
Yep.
And we get visited by another vision, and he's there thinking about like his mother and stuff.
Who knows? This is so
I
long
do.
ago.
I know. Because another of your characters, and it's in one of the short stories where the Justicar and Dringer are talking, and he's like, they keep bringing us people like the gnome, and like.
Admittedly,
we were jumping off like cats
episode.
with mice.
This is the lost episode 9 is where this happened.
That's true.
We all had visions of our past, and he had visions of his past. He's like, my mother, she was so sweet. Like that's
why. Okay, yeah, totally forgot.
It's the lost
Good
episode.
call. It's literally lost. Like you'll never hear it because we don't. It's just gone into the ether. So episode 9 it opens up. We call it Stranger Danger. We wake up at a campfire while traveling back to Oxbane. There is a woman there. States she's a reclaimer, and apparently her whole goal is to track down the items. One of the items that we have, the Loot of Win, tells us a little bit about what it does. That it has the ability to alter legends because the Win is the god of legends, and so basically explaining to us we don't quite understand the power it has. We tell her she's wrong. I think Rowan, you even try to play it in front of her. Like, can you make this person go away?
I don't remember exactly, but I remember being like, "Why are you even making yourself known if you just want to take this later? Like, why would you just take it now when we're asleep?"
We were asleep. You could have killed us in our sleep. I'm taking it.
No, it doesn't make any sense, and I still don't trust it.
There's a weird spot in our lives.
We almost got nothing out of that interaction with her, except there are more. There are more things out there that they are looking for,
and more reclaimers, and that were
so. One of my favorite
Yeah,
lines
but we
from that
got this
episode.
gnome to take back to town. You and your artifacts can fuck off.
Rowan, you said, what was the line you said about the reclaimer? Like, if I claim it, but I'm not if she reclaims it,
If I
takes it
reclaim
again,
what the reclaimers are trying to claim, am I then a reclaimer?
and
Yes.
then the reclaimer dies immediately, just poof into smoke.
Her head explodes. She's like, "What? Your logic, it's infallible."
So we leave. We go to Findle's tower. We talk to him about the loot. Gives us a little more information. Gives Kristoff, I believe, there's a book you wanted. And you were able to secure that book as well.
Word that I was trying to trade to just correspond in order to get closer to this whole plot with the Ambassador Shear and Lady Trestle.
So we get those items that Findle promised us, but upon leaving the tower, that's when Chiringa greets us with a band of other guards and says, "Hey, you're being accused of a crime. You got to come back to the castle with me. I'm sorry." So Chiringa is still super our buddy at this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the whole time. There's not a point where
Did we brush
Still
over?
is.
Did we brush over the fact that you have a cursed sword now named Ilaria Foxwood?
No, I put it in too early. It's coming up. It's actually when we.
No, you looted that from.
From the robot.
Looted
Yeah,
that from the.
I think I put it in the notes as episode 4, but it's episode 8.
No, yeah, you looted that from the Tinkerer, and then but you like didn't really attune to it, and then you attuned to it in the lost episode because you attuned to it like during the short rest, but you didn't really discover her till later.
But she will come up. We'll have her. We'll talk about her very soon.
Yeah, well, the reason why I
It's a
talk
very
about it is
interesting aspect
because
of Dwayne
Chiringa was
person.
like, "Turn in your weapons," and you were like, "I can't."
Yep.
That's a good point. I guess I should. Okay, I guess it's important to talk about because she really comes into play a little bit later. But so I have a cursed sword. The cursed sword's name is Ilaria Foxwood. We found that out in a later episode when I have a little more talks with her. But I can't get rid of this sword. It's a cursed sword, and it hurts me. Like my willpower to let go of it I can't. And so he's like, "Hey man, I gotta take your weapons," and I'm like, "You can't do that," because if someone tries to take it from me, I'm like forced to attack and kill them.
Well,
I'm assuming.
I mean, it's not that like black and white. It just says you will not part with this sword, right? Like you don't have to like murder people. You can try and run away, but like you're not gonna let somebody take the sword from you.
Though Ilaria would love that. The whole thing is like we assume, and she doesn't know either, that if we kill the person who put her who cursed her to the sword, that she would be free of the curse. But we'll find some information out later about the person who put her there, and he's real old, so we don't know much about him. So more to come on that. Episode 10. It's got in a town down by the river, so we were put into jail cells.
That was in
Of our own
episode
accord.
9 that you guys were put in the jails, right? Like, yeah.
At the end of episode 9.
Yep.
Yeah, in episode 9. So Kristoff requests to see Justicar. He's got this book. He's like, "Hey, we need help. You need to help us out."
And then he doesn't come, so I rip a page out of the book and I'm like, "Send this to him."
And it's a very, very important book apparently
Yep.
because that makes him show up. He's summoned by us. So then that's kind of the end. He shows up then, right? Yeah, episode 10. Justicar shows up in the morning. He knows we aren't guilty, but he doesn't have any hard evidence. And he says, "I need you boys to go basically find some hard evidence." He gives us some direction. We're going to go to Riverside. That's where Henry and Teresa, Alice's adoptive parents, live. And we are
I assume where you grew up.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's where I
we
knew
actually,
the area.
We actually, Dringa and Justicar break us out of this jail cell to go out there. They kind of go against their majesty, kind of go against the law, which is really cool. And in order to protect Turinga, we do knock him out.
Yep.
So we could say that we escaped and he didn't let us out.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Because we love him.
I love him so
Tringa, if
much.
you're listening.
I'm only hurting you because I love you.
You're gonna buy man, huh?
At this point, if I'm Tringa, I go, okay, it was cool at first, and then now they're just
borderline
it's
creepy.
weird.
Yeah.
Now it's just really weird. And they won't let it go.
Yep.
Move on.
It's here that Ilaria, like I have some time in the woods to find out more about Ilaria. We do meet up with Henry and Teresa when we get into the town, and we also we go find Henry, and he's at this the constable station. Is that right? And he's there with the plantation owner as well, Donald Dwarf. Donald Dwarf. You did that on purpose. I see it now. And there's something really weird. There, a lot of kids are being taken at night. And then we say that what was dumb is like their solution was to put all the kids into one area to protect it.
No, that was
right?
your solution to the problem. You're like, why don't you guys all just put them in one spot? Because they weren't doing that.
Yeah. They had them,
Good
like,
job,
all spread
Devin.
out. Like,
Your
we got-
solution
I don't know
was
if that
the
was me.
smart one, and you called it dumb. No, it wasn't you. That was it. Was everybody like the
What?
collective you? You guys.
We
were
made fun of. We
Yep.
made fun of. There was some solution. Like I think it was because they didn't do that. It's like, well,
They-
why?
yeah,
why wouldn't it?
exactly.
'Cause,
Yeah, they were like setting a guard at each individual house. Like, we can't help you. We got to guard the kids. Like, why don't you put them all in one room? You have one guard.
I
And
also
then
want to
think
point
their
out.
thing was like, you can take
No,
them
no.
all at one time.
I want to point out that this is a pivotal moment that I understood. It doesn't matter how like strong I put in side quests. They're just gonna do their own fucking thing. So at this point, I've not made any conscious effort to build solid side quests. I just wait for them to find a thread and then build it after they pick a thread to follow.
There are two currently
Vice
that
versa.
I'm very interested to explore. One is the secret that Renwa knows, or there's a key that he knows something about that's very important. But I'm
But we haven't
assuming
got
Dwayne's
there.
probably
You're
like,
skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead. I wanted to say that you guys fucking taught me something about D&D for you guys. That's what I
it
wanted
could be a
to
whole
say.
episode on that new podcast you guys do. That
Yeah.
are the YouTube videos.
Yep.
Okay,
exactly.
so we'll jump into. So we
you
find out
guys
about
go
the
back to
kids.
town. Yep.
Yeah, someone's taking them. We end up going to the bar with Henry, get a few drinks. They have the strongest drink.
Yeah,
and-
because that's how much we cared about this kid's like, oh, that sucks. You guys should probably just do something about that.
We're gonna go to the bar.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the bar. Yep.
And then we go talk to. We eventually go talk to Sinla. She gives us a stone. Mentions that Jessica comes by from time to time with things for her to keep. Rowan,
Hmm.
Tell us about your relationship with
confirm or
Sinla.
deny
Yeah.
that you love Sinla first.
No, I was just a life coach for a very short amount of time and helped her self-esteem in a non-physical way.
I don't know. I feel like our fans are shipping your relationship.
Yeah, all four of them, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was
that
going to say,
happened.
there's a lot of fallacies with that statement. One, we have fans. One, they care about our show.
Well, I'm
Two, they care about-
staring at three other ones. I can just start writing the erotic fiction right now.
Hey, Lusty Lath, if you're listening to this, if you could hook us up with some art on that'd be great. Thanks.
So it ends up she gives us Shane. What is it she gives us?
It's a memory stone, essentially. It basically, if you are in tune with the arcane torrent, like Christoph should know is, you can use it to portray a vision of events past. These particular events were Ambassador Shear and Lady Trestle basically having a heated discussion about whether or not to take care of the Magister.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so we're like, boom, we got all the evidence we need. Episode 11 starts. It's the Ballad of Stan, poor Stan. We head back to town from Riverside, and we meet Chiringa and Stan, this other guard we haven't met before, at the edge of the woods. What happens to Stanley? Does somebody want to...
Yeah, I'll
so
talk about that. No, let me
Yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead.
that.
Yeah.
So these idiots come up to the edge of the woods, which is a very smart play, and they, signal Chiringa, which is a smart play. And so Chiringa comes up not alone because she can't really do that without being suspected.
I swear to
He-
God.
son of
He-
a-
So throughout
listen.
If we're gonna
if
recap
that was-
this, we're
wait.
gonna recap.
I did though. Isn't it perfect? Because that was the same
That's
set
true.
of episodes that I could not
That you
fucking
flipped off
manage to get a handle on that. So Chiringa, obviously, he wasn't going to go out there alone, otherwise it would have been suspect. And he brings just a coworker, right? Coworker, nondescript NPC, Stan, now established as a guy who's being left. All these other issues, they strip him of his clothes. Don't worry, they pay for it. They pay him. They strip him of his clothes, and they make this dubious plan to sneak Rowan, of all people, in.
He's the most human-looking one.
No, I get it. He was the only one who fit the bill, but bad plan all around
Yeah,
for
you're
what
right,
that
you're
was
right.
gonna do.
To
But
put
I
that much
was-
responsibility on someone who doesn't care to begin with.
he's easily the most aloof character, and it's like, all right, if we're gonna give you the memory stone, go.
It's all on you, man.
And so
If
they
you fail, we
sneak
all
in.
fail.
They sneak into town, and they make their way straight to the Justicar, and then, Rowan, why don't you explain what happens between you and the Justicar?
The Justicar is a big old dickhole, and I call him out on it. And that's
don't
the end of our
remember
interaction.
That's about his version of the facts.
Okay, so if we're really there, I bring him the thing, and he doesn't have magic, so he can't see it. And then I notice the chink in our armor, that everything hinges on him being able to see this. So I have to then sneak out again to get them to sneak back in so that Kristoff can use his innate magic to activate the Crystal Feathers to see.
I just want to say that we talk about, where you want to listen to episodes, and we always keep going back to 12, but 11 has a really good joke that I think people miss out on, where Shane, playing Kristoff, says, oh, what do you mean? It's so super simple. You take this stone and you focus all your magical energies that you have in your body. Yeah. Oh, I see what's wrong.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. All you gotta do is just tap into the innate magical torrent that exists within our... Wait a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Mother told me everyone had access to the magical torrent.
No, first of all, my mother told me I was special as fuck, so don't even get that twisted.
And at that point, they decide they're gonna sneak back in town in a cart, of all things.
Oh man, one of my favorite scenes, just in my head playing. So we need to get back into town, but we can't just walk in there because we have all these wanted posters. Not to mention, I'm a giant orc. Kristoff is a tiefling, which isn't, I guess, too common, Dwayne, in your world. Is it too common here in this particular city?
No, yeah, let's talk about that. Just not that you guys have really learned that lore-wise, but the Kingdom of Silence is where the majority of tieflings are, like in big droves. Now, like obviously, you're gonna see adventuring ones like Kristoff, and you're gonna see them in other places. But as far as like concentrated packs or like civilizations of them, it's not that common in the world.
So all that to say, we look real out of place if we just stroll into town. Especially we have these posters now that we will find out very soon are up everywhere. And so in order to sneak back into town, we stow away in a vegetable cart that just happens to be coming down this road near the wood line where we're at.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kristoff, and tell us a little bit about what happens there.
I mean, I climb into a potato sack, obviously, because the potato sack is cleaner than the filthy cart. We hide in the cart. We almost get caught by the guards because Atlas can't stop munching fucking potatoes for 3 seconds.
Fail to roll.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not what happened in the narrative. You failed to roll. But really what happened was Atlas was just like,
these potatoes are great.
These potatoes are delicious. Luckily, our cart driver has some pretty boss acumen and is able to get us under the radar into town, into the plantations, where we disembark from his cart and now have to decide what the heck we're gonna do to clear our names.
So the boys, also one of my favorite moments, are planning how we're gonna just expose Lady Trestle and Ambassador Shear.
And the answer's obvious. The play's okay. Step 1. What we have to do is we have to get together a play. We're going to get some street urchins. We're going to get them together. We're going to mum plays and juggle and tell people, oh, we're doing this great show, the great betrayal in town square, tomorrow eve. And we're going to go through it. And I'll play the memory stone. And okay, we're good. We're fine.
Remix.
We're gonna play the memory stone and basically put Ambassador Shear, Lady Trestle on blast and clear our names in one fell swoop. And Rowan's gonna be my leading lady because he is so pretty, and he has costumes. And at this point, I forget Atlas's name as a player, as Scott Shaneman. I forget what Atlas's name is, even though it's his son's name. So I'm kind of a jerk.
Just realized that now. I'm gonna hang up now.
I kept thinking, like, it starts with a G because it's Ghost, but really it's Atlas. It was the whole thing. But I couldn't remember it, so his character gets offended and leaves. So that kind of leaves me and Rowan by ourselves.
They're like, forget him. Let's keep talking about this play.
I mean, we had to figure something out.
So I make my way back to the Golden Hammer. Let's see. So
were you walking fast?
There was a debate about whether I knew the locations of all the patrols in Oxbane. That was funny.
As the leader of the guards, you would have the schedule for the day.
leader of the guards, vroom, vroom. But I go back to the Golden Hammer, and I managed to sneak in Yarg, who is now the current owner of the Golden Hammer, allows me to stay there and work with him, for him. It's kind of like, I should turn you in, but I convince him that or at least talk to him about how I'm not guilty, and neither of the guys. They show up, I kick Kristoff square in the face, because they were singing some dumb song on the way there. I don't remember what it was.
It's not a dumb song.
It's dumb because I don't know it. I was left out.
So let's talk. Yeah, we there's so many inside jokes that me and Alex have throughout here. That's from Gallivant. It's a song about the two guys that are going to kill somebody. And it's off on a secret mission.
Yep, which super good callback. And if you haven't watched Gallivant, it got canceled.
Just do it.
But there's 2 seasons, and it's so good.
2 great seasons.
I just rewatched them.
Very good.
Rough in a secret mission. I love everything about that. I love the combination of those 2 actors. Anyways, so they do that. We even have a shaving a haircut reference as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna knock shaving a haircut, and that's Thieves' Cant, as everybody knows. And I knocked that, so it's knock. They open the door, 2 bits, and I'm immediately kicked in the face.
Yep, exactly.
2 bits. Everyone gets inside. We decide that we need to go talk to Ekenbar at the Golden Buckle.
Very asleep.
Just for a moment, we wake you up.
I wake him up and he says,
"I am Kristoff Shindo."
Every time. or following the question, "Who are you?"
Does it smell like tiefling blood?
No, that's not this part, but it's one of my favorite parts.
Yes,
yeah, it is. That's right. Because
I'm bleeding profusely because I was asleep, and I got kicked in the face, and I go, "Why does it smell like tiefling blood?" And they both say,
No, that's not. No, that's not the same.
It is.
It's not, because Findle says no reason.
No, it doesn't. It's Yarg. I bet you're
Yarg. Yeah,
nope.
It is true.
Nope, because I used Findle's voice. I remember it, and it's even in our 1 minute intro.
Findle's voice.
I will bet.
Yo,
I'm not a
that's
betting
not-
man, but I will bet you
That's not
$100
true.
right now.
I mean,
No, what's the wager, Dwayne? How about 1,000 experience points? I'll let you take them away from me.
I don't know what we would give you.
Yeah,
A high
okay.
No,
five.
I'll let you take 1,000 experience points away from me if I'm wrong.
All 3 of us.
Okay. No, not all 3 of you. Not all 3 of you made that bet, unless all 3 of you want to make the bet live, recorded on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
live
we all make
recorded.
the bet.
If I'm
1,000
wrong,
points.
if I'm wrong, no. Here's my thing. Here's where my memory's coming from. So we're very clear. I used the Findle voice.
Maybe you did, but it was Yarg who
So
said it.
that's why I have Findle in my head.
So
It was
what?
Yarg who said it. 1,000 experience points. Do you take the bet from all 3 of us?
Not if we're gonna use it on that. Like, I'm thinking it's Findle. Fuck, man.
So is the premise you being Findle or premise being Yarg? Because
the
then
premise
if
is
you
that I'm thinking I was Findle because I used the Findle voice.
I know that you were Yarg, regardless of what voice you
Absolutely.
used. Sometimes I can't tell the difference, but you were definitely Yarg. I will bet you 1,000 experience points.
I'm not making that bet then.
Dang.
Dang it!
All right. So, anyways,
You were
We
Yarg.
say a
Because
funny
I
thing.
made a joke about tiefling blood being the secret.
We
to
both
torrential
said-
bleeding.
yeah, it was at the same time, unplanned, no reason.
No reason.
Yeah. So we make it back there. We decide we need to go talk to Ekenbar, who we don't know at the time. Kristoff already knows. We say, hey, we need to talk to your boss. We do at that point run across a young boy who lives at the Lead Church. Is it the Lead Church?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Dylan Martin, who's our biggest fan, just biggest fan
the
ever.
biggest fan. He's so
Yeah.
good.
He sent like one nice message to us, and we're like, "Let's make him a fanboy in our podcast."
That's exactly what happened.
I haven't heard from him in a while. He is getting a new job. Hope you got that, Dylan Martin. Good luck.
Dylan Martin, good luck.
Make it to the Golden Buckle. We're not apprehended by any guards. It seems kind of weird. We run into one who actually is bouncing like a coin purse in his hand. We think, oh, we're gonna get it, and he just walks away. Roll into episode 13. Fire and Ice. Better think twice. We show this memory to Ekenbar. He wants to make us. He says like, if I help you with this thing, gonna need a special favor, and we're just like, nah, bro, no. Not for that. We end up going back to the castle to we're like, screw it. We're just going to take it straight to Justicar. We're going to walk into the castle.
We drop all pretense. We drop all plans and schemes. No plays.
We are
no
done
shady
with this.
Ekenbar favors. We go, fuck it. I got a memory stone. Let's go talk to him.
And we do that. So we end up fighting 4 guards. But again, Nice Boys 2.0. We end up being able to not kill any of them.
3.0 because we saved 2 people.
Yeah, but that's not
we
like
just-
of your own accord, right? Like, you guys didn't like not kill them. No, you never like had the option, it was like stopped before you were. I mean, you just straight up like assaulted a bunch of guards though. So don't say that that's nice point. Like Nice Boy would have been like going peacefully with the law.
Somebody was heat metaled, my dude. We stopped. We dropped.
So I let him tell me no 3 times. He chose to do that, so we had to break to a scuffle. And once we broke to the scuffle, instead of just murdering them, I played the memory stone to convince them to lay down arms instead.
I still want to point out that doesn't make you Nice Boy. It's like if an officer of the law in your real life says, "Hey man, I need you to comply," and you're like, "Look, you tell me that 2 more times, I'm gonna beat that ass." That's
a good point.
That's not like
if I'm an innocent man.
No, you don't get to beat the cops up because you're innocent.
I am first of all, I'm a libertarian, so I know for a fact that I have personal inalienable rights. And if
does that mean you don't eat meat?
Look, just because your zodiac sign says this.
Anyways, get off traffic. So the Justicar comes out and kind of breaks everything up, sends everybody to their corners, and pulls them back into his office. And that's when we kind of like roll into this new thing we're hearing about, with the Magister's plan to have Lady Trestle and the Ambassador
disappear.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to do it in a way that doesn't tie it back to him. We roll into episode 14 from there, Bath and Some Biscuits. So he tells us to lay low. Master tells us lay low for 3 days. He's going to take care of some stuff, in air quotes, take care of it. And so I decide I'm going to go back to Golden Hammer. I'm going to have some conversations with Lawyer Foxwood. I'm so intrigued about that. But the boys, what do you boys do?
Hey, Rowan, you want to go get drunk and play chess for 3 days?
You know what? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are doing it perfectly. Like, it's so good. We're nerds. No one's listening to this.
That's fine.
On the 4th day, the commotion picks up in town. We realize that our posters are being taken down, the wanted posters. Everyone thinks it's a little fishy because the people that we are accused of killing or whatever the case may be, now they're missing, and no one's saying anything about that.
It's like a very surreal moment where they like take down our wanted posters as these known criminals and immediately put up missing posters for Lady Trestle, the one who accused us. And like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I ain't no fucking Sherlock, but
the boys need to stop by the Red Roof Inn because they smell real not good, real bad. And so they get a bath and some biscuits, some hard biscuits. And then we head on over to the castle because the master wants to talk to us. He says, "Hey, I need some help. You need to go talk to the council." Actually, he just says go to Yuri and talk to their officers so you can help with the officers there. We say we need a few hours to mull it over. We don't want to just jump into anything we're not sure about. On the way out of that room, we say, "Hey, Tringa," or Kristoff says, "Hey, how do you feel about the Magister?" And he says, I don't trust him. I don't trust him at all. We go into the woods. And that's kind of where we in that episode is talking about whether or not we were going to do this mission. Kick into episode 15.
Yeah, so that was a really good moment, I thought, for us. It was like a powerful denouement where we laid it all on the table. Like I come out with my political intrigue. You talk about Ilaria. Rowan talks about how he supports us both and loves us unconditionally. And we really strengthen ourselves in our resolve before we leave not home, but before we leave Oxbane, which is our kind of meeting point for the first time.
Yeah, which is weird because like we've kind of known each other for like 2 weeks, but we've been through a lot already.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of is this a thing that we're doing now?
Yeah.
It is. Yep, it is. It's official. We're going on an adventure, and Atlas couldn't be more happy about it. So we open up episode 15. We're in the woods again. That's where we have what Shane just talked about. So I won't tie into that again. We do find out a little more about the one who put Ilaria into the sword. And so that's kind of for us, as Dwayne is feeding us these things, I'm taking notes about, okay, where could this possibly lead? So now, as we're on our trip, there's another vision. I don't know if, Rowan, you remember what that vision was.
You were fighting a thing.
Yeah, so the same thing
but
that struck me down in the first one. I was winning, and I also chopped down Kristoff.
Yep. Which
you murder me.
My favorite jokes of the podcast. This is probably the most favorite right now. is where so they all know Alaria at this point, and you see the vision, and he dies essentially with Alaria in one of Atlas's hands, and so Kristoff goes, "Hey, I want to talk to Alaria," and he says, "Hey, we cool?" And Alaria's like, "Yeah, no, I don't see why we'd have a problem." And he goes, "Play it again, play it again."
So you would not kill me, right? You're not. That's not a thing we're doing. Confirmed. Okay, great. Play it again.
Play it again.
Yeah.
So that one. So then the vision is, I kill this figure. I'm in like this bloodlust rage, killing anything that gets around me. We come back from the vision, and we're just continuing to travel along. I think that's also the one. Findle
at some point stops you guys and it's like,
Yes.
"Hey, when you're in Yori, you check out the city, ask around about the loot, get some more information." He kind of gives you that, and that's before you guys camp, and that's pretty good too, because Kristoff is like, "Hey, it's you again! Oh, great, terrible."
I'll leave.
Yeah.
This is not the worst traveling companion of all time.
Yep, exactly.
Episode 16 was a one-off. It was really fun. We had a pretty cool adventure with Bianca Zelda, who plays Mapri from the Broadswords, and we called this episode Grave Circumstances. That one does not really tie into the story so much. I really like the way that Dwayne is doing our one-offs with characters, especially when we get to episode 20. So Dwayne, freaking fantastic job, man. Really enjoying those when we go back into those visions. I'm always hungry to see what lore you're going to throw at us. But episode 16 had us just kind of feel our way around this. There's this ring that caused us to go back into, we're not sure exactly, just some point in time, or I don't know, Dwayne, can you speak
let's
to
talk
that?
about that. Yeah, so just as a disclaimer, any of the one-shots are never going to be like true canon. They may like add lore bits or change small things like a memory or at the most, but it'll never be like, "Oh, cool, so you travel back in time and experience this moment, now everything's different." You may have like a different memory of that, like it's just a little bit different, but it's never going to be so awe-inspiring. In this particular one, you're actually taken to Wynn's graveyard, essentially, where like stories go to die, and then you have the gravekeeper who like pays attention to all those stories that were legends. Essentially, if you and I'll kind of where my inspiration came from really quickly. There's like a lot of lore and theories around where like a legend will go and then it'll shrivel out and die, right? And so it was not the fate that ended up being, and that's kind of what this graveyard is. Like all the legends and heroes that were never to be ended up here, right?
That's exactly where
really
I'm
cool.
so glad that that's where you're at, because like the way that it rang to me was like those who are destined for great things and to become legends who never, fate doesn't play into that hand, they wind up in Wynn's graveyard.
Yep.
Which that was not confirmed until this moment, so I'm very glad that that's where your head was at, because that's exactly that's the vibe I got. So
Which, and
really
if you look too, because like if you, not to tell super deep into it, but everybody's fate can go 1,000 different ways, right? And if you look at the graveyard stones that we did read on the air, Rowan's goes away that he never would have let Rowan go, and then Atlas is vague, and like that's meant to show that like, and we never really talked about this, that like the world, like you like fucked the world up in that timeline, and that's why your gravestone was the way it was at that point.
Yeah. This is really cool to me. These guys are some of the most impressive guys that I know. Speaking of, like Dwayne and Shane, when they write the stuff that they do. So again, just kudos and thank you for doing that for us. What are you doing, Shane?
making a masturbatory gesture.
So
okay.
we move on to the episode 17, where they make their way to Yuri.
So we actually get into. Let me back up. So we're making our way to Yuri, walking fast, faces past, and we're Yuri bound.
Taking the crown.
So we
later,
travel
maybe?
through a small farm community that's about 2 or 3 hours from the gates.
Oh, you mean village number 3?
Yes. So what's weird is there are several patrols that seem out of place at this point in time, and they say they're basically there just to subdue the bands of orca raiders that have been coming through more frequently. I'm guessing that may have been like a side quest we also ignored because we just like Cool.
Just assume that anytime I give you guys like lore bits and it feels like a side quest, there's like shit to explore there. And I also want to say to all the listeners, when they ignore those side quests, the world changes every time. So, know that. Like,
Cool.
It's not like you can go back and go like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go do that side quest. Shit has changed when you return.
Renoir's dead, so we can't go find that key.
The orcs have taken over the world.
All those. There's going to be no kids in Riverside. They were looking for me, but they're just too late. Time travel does exist. Check. That's running junk from us. Like, time travel does never ever exist. As much as we would love for it to, does not exist in this world. So episode that's basically us getting to the town of Uri.
Which has a good little bit about. It has a good little bit about Rowan, or not Rowan, Kristoff. Like every time he gets into the city, and it's like, oh, it's civilization. And then every ring of the city gets nicer and more civilized, and it just is more exaggeratory every time he gets into the nicer rings. Yeah.
One cool scene in this is we run into a woman who's from what we'll find out is the School of Architects. Her name is Jessie, and so she like shows us something. Kristoff, what does she show us?
She shows us a lamp that she creates from the fucking ether.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like a small thing that they do at the School of Architects.
I'm a magic boy, so like, I'm like, hey, wait a second, do it again. How the fuck did you do that? That ain't right. That ain't like no magic I ever seen before. I'm intrigued.
So we finally make it to the middle ring is made up more of the military. There are the guilds there as well, and then the most center ring is where the council is. We meet a man named Winston. He is very dubious of us and the reason why we're there.
But like, finally warranted, right? Like,
fair.
Yeah, because we don't have much to go off of. We have like this writ, I guess, from the Master Trestle. But
which
when we're
was
talking,
fine
because
until
we're talking about
everybody got
Ambassador
aggro about the bracelets.
You say everybody.
Kristoff.
Hey, I was just trying to single
it
anybody out here.
clashed with my outfit.
Again, civilization. He's he's a fancy boy. So we finally managed to get them to let us meet the ambassador, only after agreeing that we'd wear the bracelets, and that we're not going to do any bad stuff. And they were very adamant about that. Kristoff was very adamant as well. But eventually, when Ambassador Shear shows up, she is not the same woman that appeared in the vision that Kristoff showed to Magister Trestle and Jaskar Svan. And so that was kind of a revelation. Kick into episode 18. Seriously, Linda? So Ambassador Shear, this woman, this real Ambassador Shear, and she doesn't like to be called ambassador. She likes to be called a consul.
That's not her title
consul.
at all. Like,
right.
That's just not their titles.
Yeah, when the reason we found that out is because it's actually her cousin, right? Cousin?
Yep.
Linda, who has been posing as her, and so she took the title ambassador, so that's why we know her as ambassador instead of her true title, counsel or consul.
Counsel.
So we talked to her that she's the true consul of Oxbane. We finally get Kristoff to put the bracelet on, and we meet the other councils. Council Welson.
Well, no, that's not correct.
I think I'm typoed that.
You typoed that. It's
Welton.
Yeah.
Welton. Put the T in the back end.
Welton.
Council Ironback, who's actually, I think Ironback is familiar with Henry because Henry had made him a blade at one point in time. So that's kind of an interesting tidbit that's there. And then Council Silverstone, who's extremely young, has risen rapidly to the status he's at.
Yeah, Alicia Silverstone.
Which, to be fair, even Henry was like, I don't make real weapons. And then this dude's like, yeah, Henry made this real weapon.
I mean, let's talk about that. Like, I actually want to address that because I think you guys twisted that a little bit. Like, Henry's whole point was he doesn't make weapons for war, right? Like, real battle weapons. They're decorative. He never, at any point, said, like, I make dulled weapons. They can never be, like, made as their weapons, right? Like, he's, like, that's a whole nother fucking thing. But I love when you guys do that to the story because I never fucking see it coming. Ever.
So the game is always evolving.
It is.
But So we kind of have the mystery solved with the Ambassador Council Shear issue. We're not really certain how that's worked out back in Oxbane just yet. Dwayne has brought us to Yuri, and we're kind of hanging out here for a little while as of right now. Council Shear lets us stay in the city. She'll give us free board for a week. At that point, we find out we go to the Crimson Roof Inn, known colloquially as
The Red Roof Inn.
No, there's another.
Oh no, it's the Red Lobster.
This one's the Crimson Salamander.
Crimson
it?
Salamander. Yep. Yes.
Yep.
Just like the other
one
ones,
was
the
the
other
Red
ones-
Lobster. Yeah.
Red
No,
Lobster,
that's
yeah.
right. That's right.
So we learn of the guilds that are in the city, and Kristoff immediately heads to the Architects Guild.
Because I want to
In
show you that
18.
trick.
We're so close. We have 2 episodes to go. Hang in there, guys. We're almost done. Episode 19 is pick a guild, any guild. So we know Kristoff has gone to talk to the Architects Guild. Wendy is the leader. You want to talk about that, Shane?
Wendy's.
Yeah,
Hold on. Sorry.
Please.
Wendy's not the leader. Wendy's who you talk to. Like, she never confirms herself to be the leader.
That's super fair and accurate.
hate
So
you.
I roll up to the Architect Guild, and basically I start to see these numbers, these arcane scribblings, kind of that are permeating reality. I see them at the door as a ward. I'm able to quickly deduce that if I scratch out one of those symbols, I'll be able to get in. They did not appreciate it because I broke it and I'm bad. But I was like, no, this is the test. Scribble, scribble, scribble. I'm here. Why did you break our fucking door? I'm sorry. But they're pretty chill with it, and they let me go ahead and try to test as well. And I go through this test, this kind of leap of faith style, create the earth on which you walk test, which was really, really cool. And I threw it back to a thing earlier, and I really, really enjoyed that moment. And it's kind of like a changing moment for Kristoff. It's kind of like where his character becomes a little bit more dynamic. It was like an innocuous comment that she made. She gives me basically this card that is a symbol of my status from the guild, and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, be careful when you use this card. People are dumb and they lose them, and like you can't get it replaced. So like, don't lose this card. Like some idiot spilled beer on it," she said, and like that like hit Kristoff because he's a bit of a drunkard. Like that's actually one of his character flaws is that he has to have a drink every time they are offered. And so this huge life-changing event, just because Kristoff's always been just pretty much good at anything he tried to do and didn't try to do anything he was bad at, and so to struggle and to try to do this thing just really it changed who he is. So he goes through this, he gets accepted in the guild, and he meets guys back at the bar, and when is offered a drink, he refuses for the first time in his adult life.
It's a good stuff there.
Thank you.
So upon his return, Rowan and Atlas had spent some time talking about Rowan's life and back and forth, getting to know each other a little bit better. Rowan decides he's going to go try out the Architect Guild.
Yeah, it didn't go so good.
It goes so
It didn't
great.
go so good at all.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember what the test was. I just remember that I failed.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
the
dude.
same test. It was the exact same test. You just failed miserably.
Yep. I am not an architect, and it was stupid, and it was meant for stupid people.
And even Atlas like goes to do that, and he watches, which is I loved this like little scene in my head. It's Kristoff who like goes through the barrier because he gets it, he's accepted, no problem, and Rowan like runs into it, just right into the barrier, and Atlas goes, "Oh yeah, this isn't for me," and walks away. Like,
This was
Oh.
immediately.
Yep.
And not for me at all. Bye then.
Atlas knows himself pretty well. So what happens is we have that scene where he is just not doing so hot, Rowan, but Atlas heads to the Guild of the Red Sun, and he's pretty sure this one's for him. And his test, he's put into this room, brought into this room, and there is a little girl crying in this room, and his natural reaction is to ask, "Hey, are you okay?" Well, suddenly, like this girl is like a demon girl, and he doesn't attack immediately. He wants her to stop, but she attacks, causes some pretty good damage. He then is forced, he feels, in a sense, to attack this girl. But he finds out that it was like a demon girl. Like the girl was going to either kill him or she was going to be killed. And maybe that's just how Atlas rationalizes it being okay at that time. He still doesn't feel great about it, even though it was a demon. It was the appearance of a young girl, and so that sits pretty heavy with him.
So let me ask this question. I want to ask this question while we're here on talking about this particular moment. You actually killed the girl because of a mechanic. a game mechanic, but I want to know whether you think Atlas felt the sword compel him to do it or not. Because, like, technically that mechanic is the cursed sword who forced you to strike back. Do you think he felt that, or do you think that was, like, natural combat rage that is how he's rationalizing it?
I think it's a coupling of those things. It's a sense of, like, I was attacked. The natural response is to lash out, and part of him knows it's a test, but part of him also knows, like, he doesn't want to attack. But I feel like because of that mechanic and that cursed sword, that'll play pretty crazily in the next episodes. Yeah.
I re-listen to that, and it's not often that I, like, am proud of my own jokes, and so I'm gonna toot my own horn. But there's a portion of that where I think you're gonna die, right? Or Ilaria's like, I guess I'm gonna be owned by this kid now. Like, that was one of my favorite. Like, oh look, Dwayne, you are funny.
So I quote unquote pass that particular test. I get a cape from the guild, which is awesome. It's got their symbol on it. And then Rowan decides to go to the Arcanist Guild.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do there, my dude?
Well, the only reason I go is because, like, they're interested in artifacts, and I just happen to have one. So I go there, and there's somebody, I don't remember their name, they're probably not important. And I just whip out the loot.
It's Sarah, by the way. That's her name.
Sarah. And I see Sarah, and just whip out the loot and make a big deal about it. And they're like, oh my god.
Yeah, they're super excited because he's got an artifact, and that's, like, not a common thing.
Yeah, and then I just lie about killing a reclaimer, and then I don't even have to take a test. I'm just in.
Which is certainly not going to bite you in the ass later in life at all.
It can't.
That's true. Just continue lying. Just lie. Piles of lie. Build your castle on lies.
I'll just keep lying and leave town.
Perfect. I like it.
And I'll start a new life.
You're just like your father.
Oh,
You're good.
So we all meet back, and this is, I believe, the scene. Oh no, you come to us first and refuse to drink. So this is we all end up back at the Crimson Roof Inn. We're hanging out, and then suddenly we see a dwarf, and he's wielding one of the mystical items. Give me that name again, Christoph.
Hammer of Derridin.
Hammer of Derridin. I have the notes. It's a hammer with a head shaped like a ram's head. And he's carrying this, and he walks out of the bar, and we know we've seen that, and so we gasp and pursue. End of episode. And then the last episode 20. This is the end of this recap after we explain this one.
Yep.
Was also a really cool episode. We did this with Chris from More Gooder Than. Audio is a little touch and go, but I loved it as far as a flashback goes.
I mean, so hold on. The audio is really fucking bad, and I apologize, and it's 100% my fault. He very much on the front end was like, no, I can solve this problem. I was a bullheaded IT guy. It is what it is, but it's still worth the listen because he does the best John Goodman impression ever.
Oh my god!
Like, I was editing it. No, I get that. It was John the Goodman, but he's literally doing. But like editing that, I laughed my fucking ass off, and his laugh is infectious.
It's the best.
And you'll learn more about silence. We learned about
dude, Shane, go ahead and take that one away then. I mean, that was mostly because this mostly delves into a lot of background for Shane's character, or not character, but his where he comes from.
So as we know, Christoph Shindo has 2 innate magical abilities that were just gifted him by the gods. One is that if you whisper his name anywhere in the world, he will hear that you have whispered his name, and he will come to you to save you.
How does that work
if you've done him a favor? Great.
It takes a little while. He'll hear it.
It takes approximately 4 months.
I can't wait for this because I'm gonna like somehow make this happen. He was like, Tringa said my name, and then Tringa will just be like hanging out, like what? Well, no, I didn't say your name.
So the other innate magical ability you guys get to him by the gods. God, please.
So we're going to the underworld, boys.
Yeah, we're gonna save his soul.
Side quest we ever do.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? We'll make a side quest. Anyway, so the other one is that he can smell time travel. So when we are displaced, he's like gives a good sniff around. It's like, yep, this is time travel. Where are we at? Silence, circa my childhood. cool. I don't know why a bugbear runs a castle in silence, but I'm sure there's a reason. And he's got tiefling guards, and they're under assault by the kobolds. And of course, Juskar Swan is there. That's where he earned his nickname, Madman Swan. I did that very Back to the Future style. I was like, oh, look at him, he's a madman.
Right, which I loved every part of that, and I want to talk about that because Silence's lore has been one of the Shane did a really good job of building up a backstory for this fictional kingdom, and not with a whole lot of work either. He just had a really good story, and he kind of has been dropping hints about his life, and when you named Madman Spawn, that was very much yours, and I let that be, even though Swan resists that. I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to go and justify it. And I was so glad that you ate into that and did exactly what I was looking for. And the John the Goodman, the Bugbear, is not leading that castle. He lived in the area and was helping the Tieflings fight versus his world being overrun by kobolds. But yeah, it was so cool to watch you really dig into that.
Yeah, I give a pretty inspiring speech in that episode where I delve into the history of Silence and how the Tieflings were not native to that land, and when they arrived, there were naysayers on all sides, and they quieted them until all that remained was silence.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed every bit of it.
And I'll wipe a tear away and get back in. So, yeah, pretty much we have the battle with the kobolds. We see just this really cool scene of Madman Spawn just wrecking these, and it's weird because we were fighting these orcs, these ashen gray orcs.
No, white
Atlas's dad.
White orcs.
Just white orcs.
It was Atlas's dad.
No, it was not. It was not 100%.
Well,
you keep saying it. That audience, that is 100% not what happened. That's not confirmed canon. Deal with it.
All right. We fought a white orc
who had
Willow.
Who had Willow, which is my axe, my great axe that I have. He had the same axe.
Not saying it was Atlas's father. Atlas's father may have killed that man and took his axe. Somehow Atlas has that axe.
I just want to be super fucking clear.
Let's clear this up. Hey, Dwayne, Devin, how'd you get that axe? Where does the axe come from? Where did you find it?
Actually, Henry would have had forged it. I think he would have helped me forge it at some point before I went to Battleborn.
Well, I'm confused.
So yeah,
I know what happens to the axe. It's a side quest for you guys, and fucking enjoy it.
It's fucking time travel.
No, it's not.
That's
it's
the vision I
not
kept
time
seeing.
Travel. It's 100%
hey,
not time
audience,
travel.
you're finding out about things just as much as we do about what's up next. It's so cool because now I'm thinking there's at least 4 side quests we could go on.
There's also a reason, Devin, that when you tried to fucking use the ability, it kind of sort of worked.
I'll super note it. So next time you're like, hey, what do you guys want to do in your downtime? I'm just gonna go swing Willow in the woods. That's it.
All right, so we're glad that you listened to the recap of the last 20 episodes. We really wanted to do a recap just because the audio quality is so fitting that we had episode 20 had bad audio quality issues because we've advanced super far from where we started, and we kind of wanted to give a recap because it's kind of all over the place as far as quality, and but this is our new launching point. So if you have people that listen, or you want to get people who listen in, episode 21, which is what this will be, is a really good hey, if you want to get caught up on the story, here's an hour and a half at this point to do that. And I think I don't know if it's been confirmed, but we may be doing these in chunks and sections, just so people have little jumping off points.
Yeah, every 20 episodes.
Yeah, maybe not hard and fast, but something like that.
Something like that.
It's just it just hit me right in the face. This is going to be a lot of people's first exposure to the Lawful Stupid Boys. So if this is the first time you've listened to us and you just went through this recap, welcome aboard.
Thank you for joining us. Awesome. Appreciate it. And you won't hear me talk as much because Dwayne is the DM. He just let me have this one.
I'm so glad that you did, because we're going to obviously record another episode, and after, when you do 3 hours of exposition, you get fucking exhausted. I also want to say, we want to say thanks to everybody who's participated in Min-Max Mankind. I don't know that this episode will actually air on April, May, but it should. If this is after May, we want to especially be thankful for everybody who joined in. That was a really cool initiative was started by Shane, and it was something we all got on board with really quickly in a hurry. In fact, we're all repping our Min-Max Mankind shirts, which you'll definitely see on Instagram, and you can go get those on the website. And anything we get from those t-shirts will go to Child's Play charity, which is a super good charity. Shane, if you want to talk about that real quick.
Yeah, Child's Play charity. They give Xboxes, they give video games, they give handbooks, they give all these games to these kids that are chronically hospitalized and can't really go out and hang out with their friends and their schoolmates and their family. They don't get to visit all the time, and so they give them like a lot of fun they get to do and enjoy, because maybe they can't. I mean, they can't go out and play kickball, maybe, but they can hang out and play Monster Hunter World with me, and they'll send out an SOS flare and I'll save them, and it'll be good.
I will be there too. Gunlance all the way.
Gunlance all the way. 2020. Lance for president, and they get to connect. I think for me the big thing is they get to connect with these people over playing a stupid game, which is what I do with my family, and that is to say, each one of you boys, I love you.
Oh,
that's like the sweetest.
We also want to make. Shane, do you have one more thing before I wrap up?
I do have one more thing. So I am proud to announce, as Scott Shaneman here with Lawful Stupid, that this is either taking place in May or it's taking place after May. And so for that reason, I'm proud to announce that Min-Max Mankind doesn't stop at May. So boys, you can join me on this or not. I won't put you on the spot here, but I'm rolling the D20 right now to continue to give to a charity that I haven't determined yet. And that's a 14. So $14 is going to plus Patreon. Actually, we'll talk about the modifiers later. But I rolled a 14 for a charity to be determined either in May or after May, because the giving don't stop, and neither does my dedication to utilizing this tabletop community to make the world a little brighter.
I say whoa. That's an army thing.
Whoa?
Sounded like a question. Go on, Dwayne. Do your thing.
So I'm going to wrap up here with, you're going to hear this in the episodes prior to this, 19 and 20, but they're going to be like vague, small spots. But we actually joined a podcast network that's very fresh and very new. But I wanted to give it a little official announcement here. We announced it on our Twitter and socials and stuff like that. It's on the website. But we're part of the Nerdsmith Network, which is, they have so many cool content creations over there. And if you haven't checked out some of the other podcasts like Chaotic Goodness, which is great because we're Lawful Stupid, that was just meant to be. And we actually gave them a spot in one of our previous episodes, and that was not planned at all. It just happened to be like this funny little coincidence. And everybody there is super cool. All the directors of the network are like down-to-earth people, and they all have the same ideals we do, which is like giving back to the community and making the place better.
Yeah, we're super excited to be part of Nerdsmith, and absolutely. What's the website? Dwayne, is nerdsmith.com? Is it .org or .com?
.org. Nerdsmith.org.
Okay, nerdsmith.org.
Then you can find it on our website. If you go to our website, any page at the very bottom.
Yeah, at the very bottom of any of the lawfulstupid.org pages as well, you can find a link over to Nerdsmith. Go check out some of those other shows. Give them a listen. They're super good. I'm in podcast heaven right now because I'm going through all the back catalogs of these different shows, and you should too.
Well, we want to say thanks for listening as always, and we hope you enjoyed the recap episode. There's so much that we're trying to do, and we love this, and whether you guys listen or not, we're just so happy to be putting this content out. But we especially want to say thanks for the likes, the shares, the retweets, and the reviews.
It means a lot. Thanks, guys.
It means the world.
Love you, mean it.
Love you, mean it. Bye.
Bye.